Hey everyone, it's Anne Sinclair from Digestive Detective, and today's Thursday tip is, last week I did food cravings, and I had so many comments from that, and I had a couple of people contact me during the week about food cravings, so it's funny how the universe works. So this week I thought I would do an extra bit of that, so food cravings and what they can actually mean. So when you crave foods, it could be a physiological requirement, so not just something that your body's craving, and it's craving it because it requires something from that food that you're eating. So the first one I've had this week, I've had somebody ask me about what it means when you crave ice, and I know this one because I've got two kids that crave ice all the time, so I know exactly what the problem is with ice. So I thought this would be useful to share. So ice craving can often mean that the kids are anemic. And one craves ice, she'll eat it by the cupful, and then her hair will start to fall out. So we know that that's an issue for her. So it's generally mineral deficiency, and it's often called pica or pica, whichever way you say it. And it's not only ice that people crave. There are so many other things that people crave. So it can be hair, it can be paper, paint, metals, stones, dirt, glass, and even poo. And chalk as well. So that's another one. So there's lots of things that people crave. They can be mineral deficiencies in particular, but they can also relate to some mental health conditions. And I would go so far as to say, if there's a mental health condition, that we should be checking for mineral deficiencies anyway. Because lots of people are generally anemic, which means low iron, and they also low levels of zinc. So you're better off getting them checked. So I'm going to run through some foods, and I'm going to give you some ideas of what you might be craving and what it might mean. So if you're craving meat, especially if you're vegan or vegetarian, but sometimes even meat eaters crave meat, because I know sometimes I do. So it's one of the things it can be, it's harder to get all your nutrients from vegetables, especially if you have low hydrochloric acid or you don't chew properly. So the cellular structure around plants are really difficult to break down if your digestion's not up to scratch. So one of the things that you can do for meat is really make sure you're chewing it properly, and really make sure that your hydrochloric acid, so if it feels like it's sitting in your stomach for a long period of time, then your digestion's not working really well. And the same if you're vegan or vegetarian, if you feel like that you have food sitting in your stomach for a long period of time, well, then you're not getting the adequate vitamins and minerals that you need. So maybe you need to look at supplementing there, especially B12. You don't want to become deficient in that. And last week I talked about magnesium being an issue for when you're craving chocolate, especially around periods times or even after dinner. Also can be a magnesium deficiency, but mostly I find that people use chocolate after dinner to calm down, So you could replace your chocolate with a magnesium supplement, and then you will help restore your magnesium stores, and it will also relax you, because you must be very deficient if you're craving chocolate every night. And the other thing is, it's better for you if you have the magnesium. It'll help you replenish your stores, but it'll also stop you from the weight gain that comes along with eating that chocolate every night. So that will be a considerable sodium and the potassium. So when you're eating the salty pickles, you're getting back some of your sodium that you've lost. So this will help you with your cramping, and your body is just craving the salt that happens with it. So low blood pressure will also increase your cravings for salt, which is common. So add a little pinch of Himalayan sea salt to your water, and salt should be added to your taste with meals. And I would be so mindful to say, though, if you have high blood pressure, you'll want to reduce the amount of salt you take in. You'll also want to make sure you're getting enough potassium to balance them out, and also include more water when you're having salt, if you've got high blood pressure, because that will just sort of balance them out. The other thing that I would say about salt, we become really frightened of salt. We tend to worry about, how much is too much. Salt from processed foods is problematic, but try not to have salt all the time in excess. So some of the other things, carbohydrate, and I think we have carbohydrate sometimes to crave it because we crave energy. I used to work on a Thursday from 9 till 9, 9 in the morning till 9 at night. By 5:30 I'd be knackered, so I'd whip down to the local food court, and I'd get a hamburger, a chicken burger, and some chips, and maybe a pie, because I was so tired I'd be craving the energy to keep me going. And I would feel great till about 7 o'clock, and then I'd crash in a big heap. And that's because this is due to my blood sugar, going up and then slamming down again. So, we want to stabilize our blood sugar. And if you're having those real crashes, ups and downs, that's because you are not stabilizing your blood sugar. And so what you need to do is eat more fiber, because the fiber will slow the foods going through down. It will also slow the digestion of the carbohydrates. And the next one is sugar. So mid-afternoon, your body is depleted. Our neurotransmitters are really worn out as it's later in the day. So look, our serotonin and our GABA and all those sorts of things. And so our brain's craving sugar, and the carbohydrates help replenish these. So this is why we need good carbs in the body. And I get really annoyed when I hear people say, you've got to cut out carbs. You actually really need carbs, because that helps your brain become engaged. So for a couple of days, when you do those ones where you cut out the carbs, you will feel better for a couple of days, but then you'll come to a big slamming crash. You also need carbs to feed your gut bacteria, because that's what gut bacteria rely on. So load up with veg. This will be helpful. And craving high fat foods. This can mean you're not absorbing your essential fatty acids, so you might not have enough hydrochloric acid or enough bile salts to emulsify these fats, so they're not being properly absorbed, and you're not getting the best of them. So we need these for hormone production and our brain function. So one tip is always useful for cravings. Most of us are really chronically dehydrated, so have a glass of water before, and then have what you're craving. And then take notice of what food it is that you are craving, and think about all the foods I've said today. And again, if I can help in any way, book in for a free 15-minute consult, and I can point you towards what to do next. And I ask you today, what are you craving?